I have prepared a brief extract of a document with medical aspects in the Russian-Ukrainian war from a special research team at the Israel Defense Forces Medical Corps. The Russian military medical service in general is difficult to compare or measure by accepted standards. The enemy's battlefield mortality rate is 33%, which equates to the mortality rate of soldiers during World War II. The leading cause of death in the Russian armed forces on the battlefield is blood loss from wounds to limbs. Typical causes of death on the battlefield are frostbite due to poor winter support, head injuries, as Russian soldiers often do not wear helmets, or these helmets are old or of poor quality, as well as burns. Israeli researchers did not record any documented cases of special care for soldiers with burns on the battlefield, that is before the soldier was taken to hospital. The bulk of wounded soldiers are evacuated only by wheeled transport to field hospitals on the Ukrainian-Russian border. Then, after first aid, the wounded wait in these field hospitals for their turn to be evacuated by helicopters or airplanes deep into Russia. But evacuation has usually always been delayed. Most of the Russian wounded were evacuated from the battlefield without first aid, and their wounds only worsened. The initial evacuation from the battlefield was too long, an average of 24 hours plus waiting for their turn to fly. The main primary treatment of the wounded in hospitals is amputation of the affected limbs. Russia does not have a well-established medical corps that works only with post-traumatic stress disorder. The topic of military post-traumatic in Russia was first touched upon only a couple of decades ago, after the campaigns of the Russian-Chechen wars. Working with post-traumatic in Russia is complicated by cultural stereotypes and prejudices. Post-traumatic is equated with cowardice and mental weakness. The Russian soldier is characterized by low levels of motivation and morale. The level of refusal and desertion is high. The command fights this by threats, manipulation, insults, and invoking a sense of guilt in the soldier. Evidence has been gathered that the Russian soldier unleashes his depression and sense of humiliation on Ukrainian civilians in the occupied territories, abusing them and looting their property. The Russian army has norms and requirements for sanitation and hygiene, but in practice they are not met. Russian units do not follow hygiene. This includes occupied cities, such as Mariupol for example. All this leads to infections and diseases and can lead to epidemics in the future. The nutrition of soldiers is poorly organized, it is of low quality. This also leads to low morale and diseases. Further in the document there are recommendations for the Israeli army, what it is necessary to continue to do, and what mistakes not to make in order not to fall to such a level of medicine and hygiene as in Russia, and this is not the subject of this video.